Hello everyone, how are you today? Well, Halloween is on its way and Halloween means scary stories. So today I want you to be really brave because today's story is not for the faint-hearted. So bring out your brave side and let's listen to the story. Today's story is about a little boy named Jake. Jake loved Halloween. Every year he would wait for Halloween to come. He loved putting up the decorations, he loved the scary costumes, he loved going trick-or-treating with his friends, he loved to carve out the pumpkins, he loved everything about Halloween. But one thing that he loved the most was all the candies that he would collect on Halloween. And no, he wouldn't save any of them. He would eat them all, every single year. His parents would get very upset. They would always warn him to eat only one candy a day. But Jake wouldn't listen. But Jake was really excited. Halloween was just a few days away. So he went up to his daddy and he said, "Daddy, can we please start doing the decorations?" So Daddy took out a big box full of Halloween decorations. Jake very excitedly started taking out all the decorations to decorate the house. There were paper bats which they put on the trees outside the house. Oh, there were very creepy crawly spiders that were stuck on cobwebs. So Daddy put these cobwebs on the fences outside the house and he stuck all the spiders there. Did look really scary. And then there was a long white balloon, but when Daddy blew it up, that balloon stood up and it looked like Boo. So Daddy went and placed it right in the middle of the garden. And now Jake took out something that looked really scary. It had hair made of straw. And it was wearing really pretty stockings and had a big smile on its face and had a hat on the head. Oh dear, that was a scarecrow. Daddy picked up the scarecrow and placed it on the swing right outside the house. The decorations were beautiful and Jake was getting quite spooked out already. But then he thought of the candies and he was good to go. Now it was time to carve the jack-o'-lantern. So Daddy and Jake went to the market and they bought the biggest pumpkin that they could find. When they came home, they cut open the pumpkin and scooped out all the flesh. Jake drew out the eyes and the nose and he drew out the smile with 3 teeth. And Daddy and Jake together carved it out. They carved out 2 round eyes in the pumpkin, a sharp nose that looked like a triangle, and they carved out 3 teeth and made the jack-o'-lantern nice and smiley. 2 round eyes and a nose and 3 teeth. Does that look scary to you? Not so much, right? So once the jack-o'-lantern was already carved out, Jake placed it right outside his room on a table because each year Daddy would place the bowl of candies right next to the jack-o'-lantern. So when the jack-o'-lantern was sitting on the table, Daddy got a big scary bowl which was full of candies. Jake looked at the bowl. His mouth was watering. He couldn't wait to get his hands on all those candies. And he knew he was going to eat lots of them this year as well. So next day in the morning when Jake got ready for school, he quietly crept out of his room and he checked everywhere. When he saw that his parents weren't looking, he quickly grabbed a handful of candies and stuffed them in his bag and he ran to school. And that day in school he finished all those candies. Oh, what joy it was for him to finish all of those candies. And he couldn't wait to get some more of them the next day. And so Jake went home very happy with himself. But when Jake returned home from school that day, the jack-o'-lantern looked really different. The eyes were narrower. The nose was a little sharper. and so were the teeth. Jake thought, what's happening? Why is the jack-o'-lantern looking different to me? But the next day in the morning, when Jake got ready for school, once again, he crept out of his room and he checked everywhere. And when no one was looking, he grabbed another handful of candy and he stuffed it in his bag and he ran to school. That day again, he finished all the candy in school. How he couldn't wait to finish that entire bowl of candy. So he went back home very happy with himself. But that day when Jake came back from school, he saw that the jack-o'-lantern looked very different once again. The eyes were sharper, the nose was smaller, and the teeth had become so much bigger and sharper. Jake was getting really scared. He closed his eyes and he ran into his room and he shut it. The next morning, Jake was ready for school once again. Once again, he looked right and left. And when he saw no one, he grabbed a handful of candy and stuffed it in his bag and ran away to school. That day, once again, he finished all that candy. He ate and he ate and he ate and he wanted more. Now, Jake was not just not listening to his parents' warnings, but he was also being very greedy. So that day, when Jake went home from school, the jack-o'-lantern was very different again. And today, it was really scary. The jack-o'-lantern's eyes were sharper. They were meaner. The nose was so much sharper. And the teeth, there were more teeth and they were so sharp and scary. Jake closed his eyes and he ran into his room and he shut the door. That night, when Jake went to bed, he could hear voices. They were coming out from his room. So he went up to the door and he put his ear next to the door and it said, "Too much candy." Jake heard it once again. "Too much candy." Jake was so scared. He couldn't help but he opened the door and he peeped out to see who was there. There was no one. And then Jake happened to notice that the candies were missing. And so was the jack-o'-lantern. Oh no. Jake thought, where did it go? Where can it go? And then once again he heard the voice, "Too much candy." And he turned around. Everywhere, there was no one. "Too much candy." The voice was getting closer. Jake was getting really scared. And then he realized that it was coming from behind him. He turned around and he screamed, "Ah!" And then suddenly he opened his eyes and he saw that he was lying in his bed. And he realized that it was just a dream. What a relief. Jake was really scared. And he promised that he would never eat too much candy. And from that day onwards, Jake never did. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the story. If you did, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Happy Halloween to all of you. Bye.